Hello everyone. So wet qualifying as it looks like. So we have our first car heading out of the pit lane here. The Williams has already spun. Well, the Alpine of TTV Waxy also coming out onto the track. Currently the only two on the track. As we see the Ferrari also. Both the Ferraris are out on the track and a Haas of Fat Nick, the only Haas. As we see a lot of drivers coming out of the pit lane here now. As we drove games is going to be the first one to start his lap. I'm just going to call him as. Go then. He starts his lap now. Very cautious through there, considering it's pretty wet out there. Very cautious through there too, not putting too much power. Because he had a bit of oversteer there. Oh, and a lot more of oversteer. Surely ruined his lap. As we see TTV Waxy not making any mistakes through there. Hitting the apex perfectly. A bit of oversteer, but corrects it. As he takes that flat out and somehow doesn't invalidate it. Interesting. Pretty wide there, but that'll work out, I guess. As everybody's on a lap now. As we see as crossing the line first and setting a time of 1 minute 43.9. Can TTV Waxy beat it? He beats it by over 2 seconds and goes for a 41.6. The next car is a Ferrari of Slem. Behind him is the Haas and his teammate. It looks to be a promising lap time. Yeah, Andy goes fastest, but just managed to go fastest. SKV slots in P4 and Fatnik in P3. And next at the line we have the McLaren of Rerin 75, who goes faster with the 140.7. 9/10 faster than Slim. See Parenko coming up to the line now. He goes P2 with the 140.9. And the McLaren of AUN goes P5, and Chelsea just pips him to P5 now. And the Alpha Tauri is P9, as has set the slowest time out of the ones I've at the time. Since we still have the Alpha Tauri who's coming out of the pit lane now. I mean, he's going to go on the lap now. Oh, that's not a promising start to the lap. Hits the apex, hits both the apexes and goes wide. And he gets spun by the Alpine of TTV Waxy, who is just plowing through the barriers, Palestinian barriers. Now, I don't know what he's doing. He's still trying to get back to the track, but yeah, and he finally finds a way back to the track after turning the wheel so many times. As we have Fatnik on the lap now. Oh, he adds at a lap and he goes up to P2. He's on another lap and he has the fastest. Never mind, he backs off. We have Az over here trying to improve on his lap. He rounds the final corner. And up to the line he comes. He goes ahead of WMC. But still he's only P9. Parenko's also on lap. He's got to win this race so that his name doesn't get changed. So he's got a lot to lose here. And he loses the back end there. Surely would have cost him about 5/10ish. And he pits. Most of them are in the pit lane, and Josie is on a slow lap, I'm guessing. Baxi has invalidated, Az has invalidated. And AUN is on the outlap, Az has Slam on the outlap. WMC is on the outlap and is Kiwi coming out for an outlap. FC Slim, who's going to start his lap right now, as there's a Haas ahead of him of Fatnik. Hopefully he gets out of the way nice and cleanly. It was more confident first two corners from the other drivers that have done that. As he's 1/10 up and he's gone fastest on the first sector than anybody. The Haas gets out of the way nice and cleanly. And he's 8/10 up on the second sector. That's a big improvement. Oh, and he loses it on. And he just managed to keep it to the managers. Wow. He couldn't take it flat out there. That was going to be a good lap, but it is what it is. As you see, AUN on a lap here, 4/10 up on his time. As he comes to the final corner, takes it nice and cleanly. And the run up to the line here, what is his lap time? It's a 1:41.2. That takes him to P4. As we have someone who's joined new lead of the Aston Martin of SXN. As we have the Alpha Tauri starting a lap. Oh, and he invalidates it. Slam is on the lap. Baranko goes fast to the first sector by like 0.087, I think it was. And now to the long straight. Into the heavy braking zone we go. It's the apex, hits the second apex, makes the power down. And what does his second sector look like? He's lost a second over there. So that's pretty much his lap gone. As we have AUN another push lap here. And he's going to the pits. Whereas we have Fatnik starting another lap here. Oh, and looks to be an AlphaTauri spun of TTV Waxy on the lap he has spun. How is Fatnik done? He's a bit slow, but I think he can improve on that in the second sector. As we head on to the second sector, and he's faster by 1/10. Now is he going to take this flat out? now he lifts off a bit. So now that corner is not flat out in the rain, as we have seen from Slim. Going a bit wide there, but as he pits, he was on a good lap, but I think he wasn't improving, so he just pit. As we have Barenko on a lap here. Round the final corner and up to the line he goes. And it's the fastest time with a 140.3. 4/10 faster than the McLaren of RIR. Ririn. I won't call him Ririn. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong, but Slim has run out of fuel. And Chelsea is on a fast lap, who's up by 5/10. He exits the final corner and the run up to the line. What is his lap time looks like for him? And he goes second fastest, only 2/10 away from Barenko. Great lap, great lap. So we have the Aston Martin on a push lap here. As Ririn goes fastest from the 140.0. Oh, and Patney just retired. He just retired. Did he crash or did he retire on track? It looks like he retired on track, but I can't tell because he was losing his front wing, so I didn't know. Chelsea on the lap, but he's down. Yeah, Kiri also on the lap. And he rounds the final corner, and the Aston Martin has spun, so that's over for him. And Skivvy goes 6th fastest, just behind his teammate. Great effort by both the Ferraris. As we have Waxy on a lap here. What does his second sector time look like? He is up by 0.075 tenths. Oh, as he invalidates. And that's over for him. He starts P8. As we have Barenko on the lap. The only man who can stop Ririn from getting his pole. But it looks like he's run out of fuel, but he's still continuing. As we have Barenko almost ending his lap, rounds the final corner, get this right and straight up to the line, and let's see what this lap time does to him. Will it be pole or will it be P2? And it's pole for Barenko with a 139.9, only a tenth faster than Rerin. Great effort by Barenko. Great job. As we end qualifying with Barenko P1 and Rerin P2. With those two fighting for pole, Barenko has come out on top. As we have the top 10, Barenko, Rerin, Chowsi, Fatnik, Slem, Kiwi, AUN, TTV Waxy as WMC, SXN and Yo Mom, the only two who are not in the top 10. Everybody will have free choice of tires, so it doesn't really matter. Unless it's raining in the race too. But we'll find that out in the race. Higher than you're going to get Cody. Cody's only got on a P5, so and it looks like we're gonna have a dry race, but the strategy is gonna be interesting for everybody. As the drivers line up to head onto the formation lap. As we have Barenko and TTV Waxy, the only ones who are starting on softs. Both the Alpines, they're going bold here, I see. Soft to medium is a possible strategy, but tire wear is going to be high. So these two are going to look after their tires more. But Barenko starting on pole and starting on softs will give him a good head start. So hopefully he makes up a good gap so that he can preserve his tires. Possible strategy for the medium drivers is possibly like go from mediums to softs, like if you stretch the medium stint long enough, but mediums to hards will be also a possible strategy. But I'm guessing both the Alpines are going from soft to mediums, since that was an option in the debrief. As we are setting the grid for the race, we have Barenko starting P1 alongside Rerin and Jausi and Fatnik on the second row. Slem, both the Ferraris on the third row, with Slem ahead of Kiwi. And we have the McLaren, Waxy and Ace and WMC rounding out the top 10, with SXN and Yomom in P11 and P12 respectively. As it's 5 red lights, and away we go. And the Barenko gets a good start and he's ahead of Rerin, as Kiwi gets up to P3 from P6 as Slam drops down and AUN drops and Fatnik is dropping down. Barenko got the perfect start he needed. Waxy making up 2 places, but he cuts across there and he's behind Ace, who also has made up many places. But Slim and SNX, I'm guessing, had an incident because they're back. As we have TTV versus Ace, and Ace just about keeps ahead of TTV. This is going to be an interesting one. This is going to carry on for some time because TTV is on softs and those are the fastest ones. As we have SXN with the first penalty of the day with 3 seconds. And he's really holding up Slim here. As we have TTV right up the diffuse gearbox of Ace. And GNR right there with Chowsy. But Barenko, what a start. He's already 1 second ahead of Ririn. Oh, but we have Ace who spun. I'm guessing spun because he dropped 5 places. That's not what you need at the start of the race like this after getting such a good start. As we have Fatnik going to the pits for damage as a Slim. Oh, and he's SXN has DNF. I have no idea how it's DNF, but that brings out a virtual safety car, which will surely help Slim and Fatnik. And during this virtual safety car, we have Barankor from Ririn and P3 Chowsy, and behind him GNR. With TTV making up how many places? He makes up 3 places, 3 places, and AUN making up 1 place up to P7. Your Mom making up 5 places. Very good start from him. And WMC right behind his teammate making up 2 places. And we are green flag racing again. As we have Baranko still ahead, and Chowsy has dropped back to 3 seconds from Ririn, and Kiwi is 1 second now from Kiwi. When Kiwi is 1 second behind from Chowsy now. As TTV Vax is the person to see at the start of the race here, since he's on softs and he's going to be making a lot of moves on these medium running drivers. As WMC is really close to his teammate, and he's using his ERS trying to make the move on his teammate, but he's weaving and WMC goes down the inside, but Your Mom keeps ahead of him, but he goes a bit wide in there, and WC gets the run on him, and WMC is ahead of Your Mom, but Your Mom squeezes WMC, and I'm not sure WMC will be very happy with that move from him. Getting already heated rivalries here between Alpha Tiger teammates, as we have TTV Vaxi on the soft. Will he make a move on Kiwi? He goes for it on the inside. Kiwi gives him the room. He gives the room to Kiwi. Kiwi's trying to fight back, but Kiwi can't do anything on those mediums compared to the softs. As we have AUN right next to him, alongside him, as we head into the flat out corner, and AUN backs out from that. Doesn't want to risk anything. As we have WMC and Your Mom fighting with as in there, and he gets ahead of WMC with a beautiful move around the outside. But WMC got his pants pulled down over there with that move from Ace. That's a clean move from him around the outside. As we have Baxi trying to close up to Chowsy, and Baranko is 1.6 seconds ahead of Ririn, and Ririn is 2.4 seconds ahead of Chowsy, and Vaxi is nearly in the DRS range of Chowsy, but he will probably try to go for the move on this back straight if he gets close enough in these 3 braking corners. As Your Mom gets the second penalty, track limits penalty of the day, as we have Ace and WMC waiting to make a move on him, as Your Mom just looks slow as Slim takes the fastest lap, as he pits onto softs, but Fatnik pits onto mediums. That's surely interesting. I'm guessing then Slim will have to make another pit stop, as will so Fatnik, as he gets 3-second time penalty for warning. As Waxy is defending from Kiwi, who's had a good few corners over here compared to Waxy, as he's up his gearbox and he backs out from that. Did not risk anything. As Waxy is very low near us. As an AUN right behind GNR, and a bit of a gap to the Williams and both Alpha Tauris, and 20-second gap to Fatnik and Slim, who bit early on lap 1. The gap doesn't seem to be increasing nor reducing between Barenko and Rerin, considering Barenko is on softs and Rerin is on mediums. Barenko should be pulling away right now, but it doesn't seem to be like that. As Waxy doesn't have DRS and Kiwi goes with the move on Waxy. Can he retake the P4? And no, he can't, as Waxy just gets ahead of him. Oh, and AUN just slap oversteer there and goes off track a bit and loses the time to the front two of these. As Kiwi is waiting to make a move on ATV Waxy, as he doesn't have any ERS and he doesn't have DRS on Chowsy, so Kiwi will have ERS and DRS to play with. As you can see the red light blinking on the Alpine showing he doesn't have ERS, and that's a pretty straightforward move. Gets the move done before the braking zone, and there's nothing TTV Waxy could have done there. As WMC has gotten ahead of your mom and ahead of Ace, but Ace is trying to get ahead of your mom here. As your mom is doing a lot, as he goes down the inside and he lost the car a bit over there, and he gets a penalty. And your mom gets another penalty. What does the penalty look like here? Your mom on 6 seconds and Slim has 5 seconds worth of penalties. Your mom has 6 seconds worth of penalties, and he's holding up Ace over here, who looks to be faster than your mom, as WMC has pulled away from your mom and trying to catch the front 6 who are separated only by 1 second from each other. As Chowsy is 1 second ahead of GNR now, but TTV Waxy doesn't seem to have ERS, but Kiwi, and your mom has retired. What has happened? Oh, and virtual safety car, another virtual safety car is called out. Your mom has DNF from this race, and we shall see what has happened to his car from Fatnik's POV. Oh, and I think he just had a Sonoda moment over there from qualifying. I think he just lost the back end there and hit the barrier, but that's caused to lose his wheel, I'm guessing, which has called out a virtual safety car. As Rerin has gotten the gap under 1 second to Barenko, and now we are under green flag racing again, as Chowsy has dropped back a little and Kiwi is constantly 1 second behind Chowsy, and Kiwi is 6/10, and AUN is really close to TTV Waxy's rear end. The soft must be dying by now because France and soft are not a good match, as Rerin is going to have DRS on Barenko right here, as AUN gets ahead of TTV Waxy and TTV Waxy pits. Not surprisingly he pits because those softs must be gone by now, as WMC is 8 seconds behind AUN and Ace is 3 seconds behind him, as we have AUN and Gian are keeping pretty close by, as we have a battle for the front. 4 tenths up at each other. As we head on to the long straight, he has DRS and 60% of ERS. Barenko also has the same amount almost, and Rerin is not using any ERS, so is Barenko, and gets the gap down to 2 tenths, but doesn't make the move. as we have AUN and GNR pretty close. Both the McLarens are attacking. Oh, and Kiwi goes off and it hands the place over to AUN. AUN had little to no work to do over there. Great. A small mistake costing him P4. As you have Chelsea in the middle of P1, P2 and P4 and P5, but he's 4 seconds behind both leaders, and Ririn is right behind Baranko, and Baranko stays not and decides not to pit despite the soft wearing out, as he gets a DRS again, but the gap is up to 4 tenths again, as Baranko also is not using any ARS. Smart play from Baranko here, not using any ARS. Oh, we have a flag who spun, as we have WMC spun, and Ace gets ahead of him. Now that's unfortunate. He was having a good race. P6, no penalties. He probably could have caught up to Kiwi and the front ones. But Ace is now 14 seconds behind GNR, the top 5 basically. And Slim, Fatnik and TTV Maxi are the only ones who run the stop and are fighting out over here, as Fatnik tried, oh, and Ririn gets lead from Baranko as Baranko tries to fight back one, but he hasn't got the pace on the tires to fight back, as Ririn gets the move on him, and Baranko have to pit now on the soft as he's lost time to Chelsea behind. Before it was 4 seconds, but now it's 3.4 seconds. And Slim keeps right ahead of Fatnik, and Fatnik is more vulnerable to TTV Vaxi here, as Vaxi is trying his best. Oh, as Vaxi is onto hards and he's trying to overtake Fatnik here, but Fatnik is not going to let this one go easily, as ERS and DRS and we're deploying it down the street. And Branko doesn't pit. He doesn't pit surprisingly. Those softs must really be wearing out now. So must be Slam's softs, but even though it's only 6 laps, he did pit on lap 1, so you should keeping that in mind. So he will have to make another pit stop here. Whereas DDA Vaxi will not have to make another pit stop. Fatnik, I think he will have to make another pit stop because he cannot take those mediums till the end, as Ririn has broken out of the DRS range from Baranko, as Chelsea has now closed up to 2 tenths to Baranko here, and AUN is up GNRKB's diffuser as he gets DRS from him. I don't think he's going to make a move. KB doesn't have any ARS, but as you can see the rare right flashing over there, showing that he doesn't have any ARS to play with. As we have Ace and WMC. Oh, and Fatnik gets ahead of Slim. Slim goes off track. Oh, at least we're having a good ding-dong battle here, as Slim gets DRS again and uses DRS. Oh, and we have Maxi who's crashed out. Maxi has crashed out and he's because of his safety car. Oh, and Fatnik is allowed to go ahead of Slim over there because Slim overtook him under safety car, and that and Fatnik gives the place back to him. Looks like Fatnik overtook Slim under safety car and gives the position back. So Slim and Baranko got a free pit stop here, and the rest decide to stay out on their mediums. I'm assuming Slim will box because the soft must be going by now. Till now Baranko is the only one who's pit, and he's on to mediums, preferably taking them to the end, as we have A staying out, WMC staying out. Now to look at Slim, will he box or will he not box? And he does box, which would have been a bit stupid not to box some of the soft tires. And what tires does he go on to now? It's a good time to serve his 5-second time penalty under the safety car, which will not make him lose any positions, since he was P9 even if he had pitted without this penalty. Oh, and he goes on to the mediums. Smart play from Slim over there, going on to the mediums, which he will definitely take to the end, that I'm assuming, as everybody has made a pit stop. As almost every all the soft runners have made a pit stop. It's all the medium runners still yet to make a pit stop. Slim has made 2 pit stops. Fatnik and Baranko, the only other people have made a pit stop. Oh, and drops of rain over there. Ooh, this is going to be a wet race here now. Now, the interesting factor will be who will brave enough to pit for intermediates under safety car. Oh, and the rain is intensifying here. We will see people pitting for intermediates tire here, I assume, because under safety car is the best time to do it since you won't lose much time. And which shows Barenko and Slim made a really dumb choice of pitting under safety car for dry tires when it was going to rain. Well, I didn't know it was going to rain, so I thought it was good for them to pit under safety car. As we have a lot more droplets on the screen. Now, Riren does box. As Riren... No, he doesn't box. Chelsea boxes. Chelsea boxes. Kiwi stays out. AUN boxes. Does Baranka box? No, Baranka doesn't box. Fatnik, WMC doesn't box. Fatnik doesn't box. Now we have... Oh, we have 3 people who have boxed. Who are going on to Inters, I suppose. Ah yes, they're going on to Inters. As we have Slam boxing too. For Inters. Now will this pay out for them, or will the rain just stay like this and not intensify more, and will it stay a dry race even though it's raining? As Fatnik doing some moves under safety car on WMC. As the track does look wet, and as you can see the red light on the cars, the red light is blinking on Chowsi's car, which might indicate it's time for Inters. But it's only... Yes, it's time for Inters. The red lights are blinking. It's time for Inters. Chowsi, Ayuan and Ace and Slam, I made a good choice to pit under safety car for Inters before everyone, the top 5 have done. Now, this race, if you finish, you get points. If you don't finish 70% of the race, no points for you. So, now, what Ririn and Paranko will do will pan out the race since they both were leaders, including Kiwi since he was right there. Chowsi being P3, he might take the lead of the race here, of pitting under safety car for Inters earlier than everybody else. AUN, Ace and Slam will be able to make up positions because as safety car in the snap. Will we see Ririn boxing for Inters? Will we see the top 5 are boxing for Inters, or will they stay out? Pitting for Inters will make sense, but I'm not the one driving, so looking at the track, it looks pretty wet out there. So Ririn slowing the pack down to almost 90 kilometers per hour. As he does box, yes, the top 5 to box, all the top 5 boxes. Chowsi takes the lead of the race. AU in second is Widow Gamer takes P3 and Slam slots into P4. As we have Fatnik, Ririn, WMC, Barenko all pitting for Inters. As A1 gets 3 second penalty over there. As Ririn comes out of the pit lane ahead of everybody else. And Barenko has jumped Kiwi in the pit lane. And Fatnik last out of the pit lane for the Inter tires. Now, the top 4 have got a 17-second gap to Ririn and the rest of the field. Now, you could possibly go to the end on Inters, but tire will be high, so it will be interesting to see if the drivers make another pit stop. As we have only 3 people who have gotten a penalty for track limits, as Fatnik, AUN, Ace have got a penalty for track limits. As we have AUN right on the back of Chowsy, and we know AUN is fast, as AS has already dropped and Slim is trying to get past him, as AS goes wide there and AUN is right. Oh, and Fatney gets ahead of WMC as he spins, I suppose, or he cuts across the chicane there, and he drops down to last place over here at the French Grand Prix. Now we have Kiwi, Barenko, Rerin separated by 1 second from each other. As we have AUN and Ace and Slam, all of them close to each other. Rerin has got the 17-second gap down to 16 seconds, showing he is very fast, and he's already made a mark of getting P2, and I'm be surprised if he catches the slow ones ahead, as AUN is right up Chowsy. Oh, as Chowsy gets a bit squirrely there at the back end over there, and Kiwi gets a penalty for track limits. Will AUN go for a move on Chowsy here? Chowsy's not deploying any RS, but AUN is, and he's close enough, but he's not going to make the move. Chowsy stays ahead, but he goes a bit deep over there, and will AUN to the pitch? Oh, he gets that penalty. That's ruined his race. That's ruined his race now for him. As we have Slim and Ace dropping back from the top 2. As Fatnik gets another 3-second time penalty. Baranko 1 second behind, 1.5 seconds behind Rerin, and Kiwi 2 seconds behind Baranko. Fatnik is really close to GNR here. What? Chowsy spins! Chowsy spun! Oh no! He was leading this race. Oh, that's really unfortunate. What? I think he had an incident with the AUN since he's dropped to P3 now. Yes, Chowsy has front wing damage and he's boxing. Oh, that's ruined his games. Oh, that's so sad for him. He was leading this race. Would have been a great result for Alfa Romeo here. Oh, this is going to put him dead last year now. God, you got to feel for him there. Leading the race. I'm pretty sure he came together with AUN, because even he dropped down to P3 since he was P2 behind Kiwi and behind Chowsy. Chowsy is now exiting the pit lane. So sad. That's really unfortunate for him, as he's 16 seconds behind WMC here. As Rerin has gotten the gap to 13 seconds from his teammate AUN. And we have a spinner who is Fatnik fighting a spun. Oh. He was ahead of WMC, but he spun now. So Slim and AUN are really close to Ace over here, and Ace does not look to be comfortable in the rain here. As we have Baranko still 1.7 seconds behind Rerin, as Kiwi is 3 seconds behind from Baranko there, and WMC, who spun earlier, is 2 seconds behind from WMC, and Fatnik has lost a lot of time because of that spin, and Chowsy is only 9 seconds behind him now. Now this is going to be a close fight for the lead here. AUN is fast from what we have seen, but Slim and Ace have been constantly in like 1 second to the top 2 when Chowsy was leading. So will Slim have the momentum to overtake Ace over here? He looks too far back, but with AUN overtake him. And now it looks very stable here. These three are the only close battle happening in the field right now, since everybody is almost 1 second apart from each other except for the top three. As he is going defensive into the flat out corner, and Slim is trying his best to overtake him. And he goes on the inside. Oh, and he spun. He spun. He hits the back end of Ace and he spun. That was a move that you wouldn't normally go for, but he went for it and it didn't pay out for him. So that's unfortunate, as AUN gets himself up into P2 and Redden is only 5 seconds behind Slim now after that spin. And Baranko is losing about 1/10 per lap to Redden, but he is catching the top 3 at similar pace with Redden, as Kiwi is now 4 seconds behind Baranko and WMC 2 seconds behind. As we have Slim P3 after hitting A's and spinning, and AUN is now 1.1 seconds behind A's. As we have Redden closing up to Slim. Slim looks a bit slow there since he's now 6 seconds behind AUN. Oh, and Baranko, what a save. That would have surely been a spin and ruined his race. What a save, man. Great job. Thankfully I got that. Oh, Slim loses it again. He doesn't like this tricky intermediate conditions, and Redden has now closed the gap to 4.2 seconds. Now Redden is on a charge over here. After pitting after the safety car ending, being 20 seconds behind the top 4, and he's done a great job closing that gap in like 6 laps of time. Hats off to him. And Baranko, who's also closing up to the gap. And Kiwi has dropped another second behind Baranko, but is still ahead of WMC. Great job from these two. Just doing the race lonely. So is Redden and Baranko, as AUN is trying his best to overtake easier. Ace looks to be slow over there. Not the best line he took over there, and he's probably going to overtake Ace here on the straight, but he doesn't get a good exit compared to Ace and loses a 10th, but decides not to go for the move on Ace. He has a lot less ERS compared to Ace, and he doesn't go for the move. Doesn't have the momentum to do so. As we have Redden 3 seconds behind Slim now. As now Baranko is still 1.8, 1.7 seconds behind Redden over there, consistently keeping up with him. Kiwi almost dropping to 6 seconds behind Baranko now. Now WMC has dropped to 2 seconds behind GI and Kiwi, and Jawzi is still 9 seconds behind Fatnik. That's really unfortunate for Jawzi, but he will still get points. As we have AUN up the gearbox of Ace. Oh, and Ace goes right there, but he manages to keep the lead on the main straight. As we have 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Anything could happen in these 10 laps. Redden could even win this race in these 10 laps from seeing his pace. But now that pace has gone, since he's now 3 seconds behind Slim. He was catching Slim by a lot, but Slim has turned up the power, and he's going for trying to catch up to the top two, as the track seems to be drying up since there are no droplets on the halo. So could we see another try stint from these drivers? Will they go on the mediums or the softs will be tricky, but it's surely drying up, and they will probably go onto the softer mediums by the end of lap 20. And we have another spinner, Fatnik, has spun again, and it's not really his race. It seems like qualified P4, and now he's spun about like 3 times ish, and he's now 40. And I think he lost. Yes, he lost his front wing. He's going to have to pit again, and as Chowsy comes to take P8 from him, as Fatnik on the softs and Chowsy on the mediums. These two have pit early, and somehow I didn't notice this, but these two have gone really bold, but it didn't pay off for Fatnik, who's lost his front wing and will definitely have to pit again. As Kiwi gets passing time early for exceeding track limits, but Kiwi is pitting, and how did he exit track limits if he was pitting? Which tire is he going on to, Mr. Weston? And he goes on to the softs, as Fatnik gets 10 seconds for cutting the corner over there, I suppose. I think he just went straight through the polystyrene barrier. As we have Kiwi on softs, it's definitely not time to pit for the dry tires, but Chowsy, Fatnik and Chen are done so, and it hasn't paid for Fatnik, and it doesn't look like it has paid for Chowsy either, because he's now like 1 minute back from GNR itself. And AUN is right up A's, and if he had to make the move, when that's too close, as you have Fatnik pitting, and he might even get lapped here, as AUN sees A is going wide there, and he's getting frustrated behind that wheel, not getting able to move that ahead of the Williams one. He pits, and sort of slim. Ririn stays out. Paranka pits. Now will these drivers go risk it and go onto the dry tires, and AUN go onto the softs? What tire will Slim go on to? Parenko goes on to soft as well, and so does Slim go on to softs. As Fatnik does get lapped, but these drivers ahead will have to pit. The top 3 will have to pit, since they're still on the interest and the track seems to be drying up at a rapid rate, and AUN has already pit and he's already behind WMC, and TRS gets enabled. That's a sign to pit for these drivers. Have these drivers gone an extra lap longer? Oh, as we have a father spinner, and Fatnik is out. Oh, and the virtual safety car, and he just spinned it. So if WMC, Ririn and Ace get to the pit lane before the VSC ends, this will be huge for them, because they will use the least time possible. Now just looking at Ace here, looking what he's gonna do. As you have AUN from Slim, Baranko, Kibi and Chowsy leading the soft dry tire runners. Oh, and he has made it to the pit lane in time before the virtual safety car ends. But will Dririn have the time to make it? Dririn will have the time to make it. Will WMC? I don't think WMC will have the time to make it. And he wouldn't have the time to make it, as Ace definitely gained some time over there over AUN, since he had to follow the delta limit, and Ace will, I think, will be ahead of AUN over here. Reren will might be behind his teammate, but I think he'll be ahead of the Ferrari, as Ace is comfortably ahead of the McLaren, and Reren is behind Slem, and it'll be close with him at the pit lane. Parenko jumps him. Parenko jumps Reren. As WMC pits for softs, and then Kiwi comes behind WMC, but WMC I think will be ahead of GNR Kiwi or not, and he gets ahead. So Chowsi has made 2 stops, Slem has made 4 stops and is in P3. Hats off to him. Parenko has made 3 stops. Wow. As WMC gets another penalty over there, which will surely confirm him in P7, and Chowsi in P8. I don't see him gaining any time on anyone, which is really unfortunate for him since he was leading the race at one point. As Slem AUN is trying to catch up to Ace, and he knows he has the pace over Ace, but time will tell if Ace can catch up to AUN. Oh, and he loses the back end over there, which will surely cost him some time, as you have ridden right up Parenko's rear end, as Kiwi is also right up WMC's rear end, and I think Kiwi will have a chance to overtake him here. But the most interesting battle we will have here is Parenko versus Reren. These two were fighting at the front also. Got 1-2 in qualifying. But sadly, strategy didn't play after them, and they are now P4 and P5. But P4 and P5 are crucial points for these two in the championship. As Reren is right up Parenko. When Parenko locks up a bit over there. He had a double lock-up moment over there, but and Reren will surely overtake him with DRS. Yeah, Parenko has nothing, no DRS, so he's a sitting duck over there, as Reren gets a slam dunk move. And now we watch on Kiwi on WMC, as we see more rain droplets on the screen. But will Kiwi have enough time to overtake WMC over the braking zone? The answer is no, he will not have enough time. And WMC lives to fight another day. The question is now, will Parenko fight Reren, or will he walk with Reren to catch up to the top 3? Now AUN doesn't seem to be catching up to Ace, and Ace seems to be pulling away from AUN, and Slem seems to be catching up to AUN. Looks like AUN doesn't have good pace on those dry tires, or he's just taking a pit setup, I'm guessing. As Kiwi gets ahead of WMC. We didn't get to see the move, but he does get ahead of WMC. As Parenko doesn't get ahead of Reren in that main straight DRS zone. But he will have another chance on the back straight, where the DRS zone is much bigger. As WMC gets back up ahead of WMC using the DRS. Now what will Kiwi do? Will he wait, or will he overtake him here? Oh, and he hits the rear end. Oh, and will Parenko is not close enough to make a move. As we have Kiwi going wide there. Yeah, and I don't think he's going to make a move there. Corner penalty. Yeah, he lost 8. He's back 8 tenths from WMC, and he's now going to make the move now. As we have Parenko right up Reren. But Reren doesn't seem to be pulling away that much from Parenko, as he was doing in the wet period. And Kiwi is still within half a tenth of WMC. I mean, a half a second of WMC, as WMC loses the back end a bit over there and goes wide, which costs some time, and Kiwi is going to make the move around the outside, and it's a clean move from Kiwi. He gives the space to WMC, WMC gives the pace. Clean drive from board driving. Now will WMC overtake him again in the DRS zone here? Looks to be a bit far back as Slam is closing up to AUN, then AUN is closing up to Ace. What do the penalties look like? And it looks like Ace might win this race, even with the penalty. Unless Slam can close up to him. As you have Paranko with DRS closing up to Reren. Reren not deploying any DRS. Paranko goes to move around the outside. He gives... and he spins Reren. He squeezed Reren to the apex right over there, and Reren hit the curb and hit Paranko's car, and then, which resulted him in spinning. And that's really unfortunate for him. He probably could have got up to AUN and Slam, seeing his pace on the bet, but he's got to settle for P5 now. As you have AUN being vulnerable to Slam at the closing end of the Grand Prix. As the fastest lap is currently was Reren, achieving an extra point for. WMC has a penalties worth of 9 seconds but will not change his position, so what, since he's 40 seconds ahead of Chelsea here, and looks like WMC Junior are pretty close, and Slam gets the fastest sector over there, and he's managed to get DRS on AUN over here. And AUN is catching up to Ace, but it don't really matter since he has 6-second time penalty, and he will probably end up behind Paranko if Paranko keeps it clean. And Slam has dropped back a bit, and AUN has turned up the power and is catching up to Ace now. He's closed the gap from 3 seconds to 2 seconds now, as they are entering the final stages of the Grand Prix. We have Ace absolutely cruising at the front, not a threat from anyone at the moment, but Slam is really trying to get that move on AUN, and AUN doesn't have any ERS, and Paranko still 3.7 seconds behind Slam. Slam gets DRS on AUN. And he's not close enough to the move, and AUN is out of ERS. He's under 10%, he's on 5%, whereas Slam has 17%, but has still not much to play with. But he is closing up to AUN, and what is up to Ace? He's lost like almost a second to AUN. I think he had a moment somewhere which he missed, but he doesn't get DRS. AUN doesn't get DRS on Ace, but Slam does get DRS on AUN, and AUN has only 3% battery, as Slam gets to up to 6 tenths within Slam, as that's the only close battle we have on the track right now. Slam is only 7 tenths behind AUN, and AUN is like just now 9 tenths within Ace, but he doesn't get DRS on this straight. But Slam does get DRS on him, but Slam seems to be losing a lot of time through the last sector, where there are a lot of more turns than any other sector on this track, as AUN gets another 3-second time penalty. Oh, and now he's definitely going to end up definitely going to end up behind Baranko, possibly even Rerin, but Rerin seems to be a little bit behind on 9 seconds. As AUN does get DRS on Ace, and Ace seems to have out of ARS. Both of them don't have any ARS. Slim waiting there to pick up the straps. These two having a ding-dong battle at the last lap. Then out of ERS, both of them are out of ERS. And Slim waiting in the background as Slim, as AUN is trying a lot, as Ace just holds him off. As AUN is really trying his best to get ahead of Ace here, but nothing is working out for him. As we head on to the final sector of this Grand Prix, the last lap. Are we going to see some last lap dive bombs into last turn? No, he doesn't risk it. And Ace comes up to the line to win the French Grand Prix. Oh, I mean, Slim missed the French Grand Prix with penalties applied to Ace and AUN. As Parenko does get into the podium spots, as AUN stops on to P5 from P2 to P5 with now worth of 9 seconds time penalties, and Rerin does get promoted to P4 with that. As we see the last drivers crossing the line with JNR and WMC, P6 and P7, and P8 goes to Jauzi, the last of the points paying positions. No, not the last of the points paying positions, but he is last one of the race, but he does get points, 4 points. As Slim, hats off to Slim, what a great race he had. Pit 4 times, I believe. Yes, he pit 4 times and he won the race. Amazing. As we have Slim winning the race with Ace getting P2 because of his penalty, and Barenko slots into P3 because of AUN's 9-second time penalty, and Rerin slots into P4 as AUN drops down to P5 because of his 9-second time penalty. And we have P7 which goes to Kiwi, and P8 to WMC, and P8 to Jersey. Great job by all these drivers to finishing the race. Surely a tricky race from dry period to wet period to dry period. So it wasn't really much of a strategy decision here. Possibly the Alpines were trying to stretch their softs till the end till the rain comes, but they couldn't do it. As the fastest lap goes to Rerin, and we have the results over here with Slam P1 is P2, Baranko P3, Rerin P4 with the fastest lap, AUN P5, JNR Kiwi P6, WMC P7, Chausi P8, and the rest of the 4 have DNF from this race. But Fat Nick had got 19 seconds worth of penalty, so I wouldn't see his position change from P9 anyways. A great race from all these drivers. As that was surely an interesting race, very eventful race, and I'm going to end the stream. It was nice commentating tonight. Thank you everybody for joining in to CCR T2 Round 8 France, and tune in tomorrow for T1 France. Goodbye.